As everybody knows, everything in Affinity Suite is free except for this one tab on the very right that is called Canva AI. In this video, I'm going to be showing you guys every single tool that Canva AI has to offer, and I'm going to compare it to the likes of Adobe's Firefly as well as Google's Nano Banana to see how they kind of compare. All of this to answer the big question, is it actually worth it to pay for the one thing that Affinity has behind a paywall? Before we get started, we are well on our way to 100,000 subscribers. So if you guys are getting some value from this video and willing to help out, hit that subscribe button and we'll see you at 100,000. All right, guys, we're in Affinity and I'm going to switch it over to Canva AI. Now, here you're gonna notice that in order to generate anything or do anything, there is a little crown and that means it's a premium feature. So I'm gonna go ahead and just sign up. Ooh, a 30-day trial. Okay, I'll take it. So in the Canva AI tab here on the top right, we have generate image, either as an image or a vector, and we're gonna test that guy out. So we're going to try to recreate something like this, which we've done in the previous tutorial. If you guys wanna check that out and learn how to do something like this, link in the description down below. Now, the fastest way is to just feed this image into ChatGPT, and ChatGPT has written a prompt for me, so I'm gonna paste that in. Okay, and it's made images for us. If you guys wanna see the full prompt, because I know it's pretty long, it'll be on my website. I'll leave a link in the description below, so check that out. Okay, so it did a very good job. If you guys wanna see all the variations, what it's gonna do is it's gonna create a layer of my prompt, and if I double click it, it's gonna give me all the variations. So if I click through them, you guys can see every single one that it has produced. Now, the one thing that you guys need to keep in mind is that the images that are generated look very impressive. Once you do zoom in, there starts to be a little bit of weird things going on, like the thumb here, the fingers that are peeking out in the back there. The clothing looks really good, but some weird folding going on. So if you guys don't zoom in to a lot of these features, you're not going to be noticing any of these things. But if you do, it's not going to be amazingly perfect. Now, the other thing that you can do is if you mouse over this little icon here, you can use pictures as references. So if we give it this picture as a model reference, theoretically, it's going to be able to create images with the same model in it. Let's see. Here, I'm choosing character reference and I'm going to pull it from an image. Use the same photo here and I'm going to run the exact same prompt, but now with this image as a reference. Okay, so very interesting, guys. I would say that it's doing a good job of trying to capture the prominent features of the model's face, which is great, but it doesn't really stop it from having these weird quirks that I mentioned before, right? So things like the suit doing this kind of maneuver, not amazingly natural. We got some really crazy things going on with the fingers over here. So overall, the image looks great. The model is pretty good at being consistent, but I would say there's still a little bit of quirks that need to be tuned out. Let's see how the same prompt might function in Adobe's Firefly and in Nano Banana. So Adobe's Firefly actually doesn't allow for as many characters as Affinity or Nano Banana. So I had to dumb it down a tiny bit, but here are the results that it spat out for me. And this is what Nano Banana generated. Mind kind of blown right now. The fingers are, if I can say, pretty perfect to my eyes. It even got the translucent circle correct, which I thought was pretty hard because it involves that depth of field that is really hard to get. What do you guys think? I'm gonna put all of these up on the website, so check them out. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Guys, also want to mention that you have the option of going over to the dots and you can change the style. So for example, if I change it to pro photography, black and white, you can also change the aspect ratio. So if I want it more like a portrait, I can also change how many images that I want. So before I had 4 turned on, you can change that to 3. And if you generate, it'll basically do whatever you tell it to do. And the 3 variations that it's created here also look pretty amazing. All right, now what about vectors? So we're gonna try to do something very easy. You can see it on the left. That's what I'm trying to mimic. So I did the same thing, got a nice prompt, and I'm going to generate this in a square aspect ratio with illustration checked. Let's see what happens. Okay, so it spat out this image right here, or rather this vector right here. And the coolest thing about this is that every single one of this is editable. So if I double click into it, you can see that every single part of this is an actual vector illustration. And if I go into the vector tab, I can ungroup this and I can actually modify each one of the elements that are in here. Now that, I think, if you're an illustrator, alone justifies the money that you're paying, because I don't know how much time this would have taken you to actually draw this one thing. And the fact that it's all editable, insane. Now with the same prompt, I was also able to get some really cool effects in Adobe with the Firefly. And the cool thing is that they actually do give you 3 different options. And all of this is also editable. And I think either of them will save you a bunch of time. Now that that's out of the way, let's go over the tools on the left here. On the very top, you're gonna see the object selection tool. It's gonna work very similar to any other programs. And you just have to select the layer that you want to select the object. And it's going to analyze the entire image. And it's going to give you the selection preview before you actually select it. And I think this is actually a really nice tool because it saves you a lot of time on selection. And it does match up with any other type of object selection tool. It's very, very intelligent in telling what object is what and quickly selecting the object that you want to actually select. The next tool is going to be our Generative Expand tool, and this one is really good if you want to change the aspect ratio between landscape and portrait. So what we're going to try to do with this photo is we're going to try to change it into a portrait photo, and I'm going to select this tool, the Generative Expand tool. I'm just going to drag this up until I find something that makes a little bit more sense and looks portrait. So maybe something like that. All I have to do is hit enter, and it's going to generative expand this image for me. So you can see it's done a pretty good job for me of extending the sky on the top as well as the flooring on the bottom. Now the flooring paving pattern does match. However, you can kind of tell where it started to generate this image, which is not ideal, but it does definitely give the effect and really come across as a part of the same photo. So I went ahead and also clicked the generate more variations. This is the first one, the second one, and the third one. It seems to be doing a progressively better job at actually generating variations, which I think is very impressive. As you guys may know, a similar feature also exists on Adobe Firefly, and these are the results that it produced for me on that platform. Again, all of these are going to be on my website, and they're all just kind of a first try stab at the prompt. Next, let's go over Generative Fill with the same background image. I want to add, let's say, a mariachi band playing in the middle of the street here. So I'm going to hover over the Generative Fill, and I'm going to go ahead and just select this area on the streetscape here where I want the mariachi band to be. And I'm going to check on allow generation beyond the selections, and I'm going to turn that on to 3 different variations. So here I'm putting in the prompt of what I want to add. So this is the result that it was able to give me. I did want a couple variations of this. So you can see that it's kind of struggling with the faces of the musicians themselves, as well as the fidelity of the photos. It's not insanely high res. And as soon as you get to the edge of this, you can kind of tell where the generation is coming in. Now there is a option to super resolve this, but after looking at the image with the super resolve, I'm just gonna switch it on and off here. You can see all it does is it really just sharpens the image up and brightens up the contrast, but it kind of leaves way for these weird patchy areas that really just gets rid of detail on the image itself. So not quite there yet, but could be a helpful tool in order to do some referencing or inspiration. I found that a similar type of situation is also present in Photoshop. So similar ideas of the faces being a little bit more mixed up, as well as just not 100% belonging in the context and changing stuff up when it really shouldn't be. But it does do a little bit of a better job at connecting to the actual proximities themselves. You can see the bricks do basically continue. Again, not 100% there. I would say both of these models do need a little bit more work. So we know that Nano Banana is really good at taking these things and continuing the context as well as the lighting and carrying that on to what we actually want to edit. That is actually one of the better tools to use, and perhaps that's why Photoshop has incorporated Nano Banana into their native program. So the next tool is going to be Generative Edit, and this allows you to make either local or very particular edits in your image itself. For this one, we're going to be trying to change this entire image into a nighttime scene with some snow covering, as well as some street lamps that illuminate the night sky. So I'm going to put in the prompt. Okay, so this is our result. I would say it actually did a very nice job. It's got all of the street lamps in very equal intervals with the light kind of splashing onto the facade of the buildings. And we have a thin layer of snow going across the entirety of the image. We even have snow particles that are falling from the sky. Yeah, I would just say overall it did a great job at something like this. There's not really a direct comparison in tools to Photoshop, but Nano Banana did also do a great job at this one. It's a little bit brighter of an image, but I would say both of the results are amazing. Okay, next one's going to be our portrait blur tool, and it's basically what it sounds. It's going to blur any photo that you want kind of a bokeh effect in the background. So here I have a portrait of myself and I want to add a nice blur effect to the background. So I can click on this portrait blur tool. It's gonna bring up radius, focal distance, and blur smoothness. You can see that if I turn up the radius, it's going to blur the background while keeping my face nice and clear. You can also change the focal distance, and you can see that the ground behind me is going to get clearer and clearer until it goes all the way to the back. The coolest thing I think is if you turn on split view, you can actually compare the before and after. So if I drag the slider out, you can see how much it's actually changed in your photo. So super useful tool. I think this is one where you can just take something that doesn't have a bokeh effect, bring it in, immediately it can do something like that for you. Okay, so this next feature I'm actually really excited to go over with you guys. It's the portrait lighting effect. And basically what it does is it adds lighting based on how your picture is, just like how you would add it in a studio. So if you hover over here to the portrait lighting effect, you can see that it's gonna bring up a nice little circle. And if I drag the circle around, you can already see on the model's body how the light is changing the actual model itself, right? So it's using machine learning to get how light would behave on something like this in a studio. And there's a good way of showcasing what this does by changing the color into something like a red, for example. You can change the distance of how the light affects the model. You can change the radius of how the light expands. You can even change the strength of how bright the actual light it is. One other feature that I think is really cool about this is you can add another source of light. Let's say I want another source of light over here that's more like a blue. I can basically just do that. Adjust what I need to adjust, hit apply, and you're basically good to go. So it kind of just works. I don't know. It's great. All right, using the same photo, we're gonna go over the next tool, which is to colorize, and it's gonna do that with machine learning as well. So this black and white photo, we're gonna select on it and then hit the colorize tool. And then what you can do is just go ahead and adjust the temperature and adjust the saturation of the image, and it'll basically make a black and white photo colorize. So another great tool that doesn't need too much of an explanation, but yeah, go try it out. This is great. Okay, so this next one is about making the resolution of your image a lot better, and it's going to be the high res tool, so the super resolution tool. So here as an example, one of the images that I used for my previous example is not insanely high res. You can see there's a lot of blurriness going on in the background. I believe this was a crop of another video or a photo. So I'm going to make sure to select the layer here and then click the super resolution or super resolve. So you can definitely see some nice sharpening going on around here, for example, in the background. If I drag the slider of before and after, it definitely added a lot more detail to it. But one thing that I want to call out is that it really smoothed out my face. I'm not sure if that adds a lot of definition to it, but you can see how my face is a lot smoother in the after than the before. So it's kind of like a beauty filter on top, but it does make it a little bit sharper, this image itself. I think it also did a pretty good job with the fur, so you can see the before is a lot more pixelated. And then the after kind of came in and cleaned up a lot of the details there. It's just a really handy tool that you have off the top of your hand to make something a little bit more high res without having to go through a lot more steps to do it. So the last one's going to be selecting based on the depth of the image, which I thought was super cool. So it uses machine learning to do this as well. And to demonstrate, we're going to use this photo itself, and I'm going to select this tool. So it's going to analyze the image, and once it has, you can actually change the slider of the actual selection depth tool, and it'll basically pick up what it thinks is in the foreground versus the background. So for example, if I slide my slider here, you can see that it's picking up the light on the side as something in the foreground. In a bit, it's going to pick up this lamp as well, right? So it's going to pick up the lamp that it thinks is in the foreground. And the more I tune this back, the more it'll actually select that it thinks is in the foreground. I can also adjust it in the back here. So starting to select from the back, I can also expand this field so that we're only getting selection of everything that's kind of happening in the middle of the image, which is pretty cool. It's detecting all of the depth from the image, and it's allowing us to select based on the depth, which I've honestly never really seen before. So what do you guys think about all of the AI tools in Affinity AI? I personally think that if you are a heavy user of Affinity, then the AI tools for only $15 a month is such a great augment to your workflow because it really improves everything and makes it a lot faster than you would have if you just go in and edit it manually. But yeah, let me know you guys' thoughts. Please don't hesitate to leave a like, share, subscribe. And with that said, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.